Chapter 1. The Home. Ava trudged along the dusty highway on that September morning with a heavy heart. Her body bent under the weight of the heavy suitcase she was carrying, which contained all her belongings. Although her wardrobe was scanty, the weight of the suitcase made her stagger. Stepping to the side of the road, she sat down in the shade of a large tree and, removing her hat, buried her face in her arms and sobbed aloud. "Oh, Mama, Mama, if you were only here," she sobbed. "I need you so much. There is no one to whom I can go, no one else who understands." For some time she sat there sobbing. Then, lifting her head, she let her eyes rest on a house which stood on the brow of a hill some half-mile distant. The bright September sun shining upon it dazzled the eye with its whiteness. The large red barn rose clear to her vision. The willows which grew along the brook that ran around the base of the hill, and then on across the meadow, could be seen waving and nodding in the breeze. The orchard which covered the hillside was now yielding its rich, ripe, red fruit of autumn. The apple trees were laden with fruit, and as Ava sat gazing there by the roadside, it seemed the September sun cast its rays upon them in such a way as to bring out the richness of their rosy tints, inviting her to return. "My home," said she, as the blinding tears again coursed down her cheeks. "Oh God, this is so hard to bear." Kneeling there in the shade of that tree on that September morning, Ava poured out her heart to God until she felt the touch of His hand again upon her soul, and the assurance that all would be well. Rising to her feet with eyes uplifted, with hand raised heavenward, and with steady, unshaken voice, she sang, "Jesus, I my cross have taken, all to leave and follow thee. Friendless, poor, despised, forsaken, thine henceforth my all shall be." Then, lifting her suitcase, she trudged on down the road. The sun seemed to shine brighter. The load did not seem to be so heavy. A mockingbird singing from the top of a tree awakened a responsive chord within her breast, and she sang as she trudged along, leaving her home and her brothers, being pushed out by a cruel father with orders never to return again. Eva's father, Robert Grant, had not always been a cruel, harsh, unloving parent. When a young man, he wooed and won the affections of Lucy Davis. He was a well-respected, sober, quiet young fellow, and when these two married, all thought it a good match. Mr. Grant was a strong, stalwart man of muscular build, weighing more than 200 pounds, while Lucy was small, weighing less than 100 pounds. It was because of her strength of character and the fact that she was an orphan and needed a home and someone to care for her that all thought it a good match. For Robert Grant was surely strong enough to take care of her and support a family. He proved to be a good worker, and all went well for some time. Robert and Lucy bought a little place and settled down. Both were well acquainted with hard work and soon began accumulating things, getting a good start in life. There was a small mortgage on the place, which they were striving to lift. Their house was furnished with the barest necessities. They did not care for that, but toiled on, looking forward to the time when the little place would be theirs, and then they could think of having some of the luxuries of life. Lucy's heart sang as each payment on the mortgage was met. How she strove to economize on every line, happy in so doing. 3 years passed and the Dare family moved near them. They were very rough and unlike any of their former associates, but as is the custom in rural districts, visits were exchanged. And upon one occasion at the Dare home, a jug of whiskey was brought out and passed around. Robert and Lucy declined the invitation to drink, and how proud Lucy felt of her husband as he refused that day, stating that he had never touched a drop of liquor in his life. The visits to the Dare family were quite frequent, and often Robert went alone. Although strong in physique, he was not strong enough to resist temptation and soon took to drinking. His father before him had been a drunkard, and the appetite soon took hold on him. Lucy was glad when the Dare family moved away, for she thought now that Robert would be as before. But no, he sought drink elsewhere, seldom returning from town unless in an intoxicated condition. Many times their savings were spent for liquor. The payments on the mortgage were not met, and soon the little place was sold and they were moving from one place to another,